into Movie Men. I'm Eric Stafford. This is Keegan Matheson, and we are here today. We haven't had a Movie Men in a while, and I was thinking, that we would do one because now the building's opened up.
Absolutely.
We're working together again. We were working like half a week. And so, like, he would be here 2.5 days, and I'd be here 2.5 days, and so we weren't really together. So we did like one Movie Men that way, and filmed half and half, and then it was like, yeah, we'll wait. So, because it is kind of a discussion, but today we just thought we would do a haul video. And a haul video, if you don't know or you haven't been on YouTube, is where people like me that collect movies and Keegan, they'll just go on and talk about what they bought that week or their newest pickups and what they bought. And as movie collectors and physical media collectors, that's kind of a big deal. And you do want to see what other people have picked up, if they got a deal, or and you can also kind of hear about their collecting style.
Absolutely, and some of their favorite movies. And I feel like I was talking with my sister the other day, and she's like, "Why do you always ask me my favorite things of things? And like, you always ask me to like rank my top 10 or something." And I was like, because I feel like it tells you a lot about your person and who you are and what you like and what you enjoy. But maybe you'll get a glimpse of that. But that's what I think of when I think of peering into people's movies collections or any sort of collection.
And I've noticed when I watch a haul video is I'm like, man, I forgot about that movie and I'd like to pick that up, or that sounds better than I thought, I might pick that up.
Right.
Or so you do kind of have that. Or if it's a title that you've not even considered picking up, then you might go, hey, I can check that out from the library or see if the library's got that, so I can watch it for free, take it back. Anyway, I'm going to let you start. You've got, his haul's a little classier than mine. This haul, I will say this one haul came, I bought some movies Friday at Steve's Pawn Shop. I don't know why I always want to call him Sam. Steve's Pawn Shop here in Lenoir.
Sweet.
And so one of them I've been eyeballing for like 6 months, I would say. But I never have picked it up.
Yeah, which pawn shop is that?
It's over beside O'Reilly Auto Parts and Foothills Pharmacy and the Radio Shack. It's in that shopping center.
Awesome.
And they always have movies. They've always got movies. And I think their DVDs are $1. Awesome. And then Blu-rays are $3.50, I think.
I'm so surprised they had a 4K.
That's my surprises. That's my surprises. That's why that happened.
Spoilers.
So, but we're going to start with Keegan because Keegan's got some cool stuff and stuff that, like you talk about with haul videos, stuff that I would like to get as well. So he's got some cool stuff. So start us off there, Keeg.
All right. So my first one here is the Steelbook of the Birds.
Okay.
I just recently watched this movie, actually last night. It's on 4K. The transfer looks pretty good to me. I think it looks decent. It's got that nice grain that you look for in classic movies. And
I am going to ask you your pedigree, though. So do you have a 4K? You got a 4K player?
Yes, I played this on my PS5.
Okay, so he's got a 4K player and a 4K TV.
Yes.
So I've heard some guys talk about, that they've got the player, but maybe not the TV. But you got the real deal. You've got it.
I've got the real deal. I even have the HDMI 2.1.
Oh, really? I don't think I've gone that far. I think I've just got a regular HDMI.
Yeah, I thought that it would make a difference. It doesn't really make a difference.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
I thought it doesn't make a huge difference. But The Birds is a interesting Hitchcock classic, I'd have to say, and it's one of the two that I got. I got this one and Psycho. So these came out as a pair, and if you look on the back here, I'm sure we'll do some post editing to show the glory of the behind shots. But
the behind shots, the close-ups.
Yeah, but if you look on the back here, we got Hitchcock.
Oh, got the profile, the famous profile.
And basically, I would have to say that they're going to do this with other ones. I assume that they're going to do the recent 4K releases and do a Rear Window and a Vertigo Steelbook. So hopefully those are on the way because I love both those movies, more than this movie actually. But you want to talk about this movie a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about this movie.
Do you like this movie?
It was probably the first Hitchcock movie I saw, and that my mom was a big movie fan, and so when it was coming out, she thought it would be cool for us to watch it. So there was me and my 2 older sisters. I was maybe 7 or 8 when I saw that movie, and it's a scary movie at 7 or 8 to think that all the birds are going to come down and eat your eyeballs out,
right, exactly.
like they do the sheriff.
Yeah.
If you've not seen the movie, it's an old movie, so I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil it. But
right.
anyway, and you don't know why the birds are attacking. The birds just start attacking people. But I remember when it would come on, because this is before VHS, this is before all of that. So when the birds would be on, then you were like, oh man, the birds are on, and then you would sit and watch it.
Yeah.
And they might be at the gas station by then.
Yeah.
Which is where things start going wrong. You start
much.
seeing that things are going wrong. I don't remember watching the beginning of that movie a whole lot, but I'm sure I have. But I really like Rod Taylor. And we were talking about Tippi Hedren, who is the grandmother. She's the mother of Melanie Griffith and the grandmother of Dakota Johnson. So that's a Hollywood pedigree. Talk about a Hollywood family.
Hollywood lineage.
It's a Hollywood pedigree. And apparently Tippi Hedren's still alive. She's 91, and she has tigers on her property. So we might hear she owns big cats.
Uh-oh.
So apparently, she might end up being between their little teeth. But anyway, that's what happens to people that have tigers and stuff. But anyway, I really enjoyed the movie. It terrified me as a kid. The older I've gotten, not so much. But, and I had to show it to my kids. I didn't show it to them as young as I was when I saw it. I let them get a little older. But I was like, as a kid, I was just terrified at the thought of the birds pecking the sheriff's eyes out.
Right.
So, but also, and this is something that's kind of past as well, when Universal Orlando first opened, they had a whole section just about Hitchcock. And they had a theater that they sit you down in, and they started showing the birds coming at the screen.
Really?
But the cool thing was the birds tore the screen. They had the robot birds and actually tore the screen and started coming out of the screen.
Wow. And
you can see the birds pecking on the other side of the screen, a little animatronic thing, and it was really cool. But it was all about Hitchcock. It was a little tour of all his movies and how some of his shots were done, and it had the shower scene from another film that you got over there.
Yes.
And how they shot the shower scene. I just remember it being a classic and loving seeing it.
Okay, so you mind if I give you my take?
Yeah, give us a take. Yeah.
On what I think it's about. Because people, there's a lot of speculation online of why are the birds attacking, and we never really get that closure like in many of the other movies. Like Hitchcock usually has a formula where he kind of reveals his hand at the end, and you kind of know where all the pieces fit. But with the birds, you don't really know why they're attacking. It kind of ends with them getting in the car and zooming off, and the birds are just not really known like what their intentions were and why they were doing what they were doing. I guess it was kind of some sort of random seaweed thing that they were eating, or something was making them go crazy. But I feel like it was more of a allegory for. We mentioned Tippi Hedren, and her name is Melanie Daniels in the movie, and I feel like she was sort of the city girl, I guess, and the mother of the main character, who's Mitch Brenner, is the name of the character. She's sort of like a little bit animosity towards Tippi's character, and I think it's because she's more of an outsider, and she's more of like, there was a whole scene. My favorite line of the movie was, I want to go through life jumping in the fountains naked, and she just drives off. And I feel like that was kind of like her character she was a little bit promiscuous a little bit, and the whole allegory of the birds like attacking was the birds was not only a allegory for women, and birds being an actual stand-in for women in Mitch's life, and him like basically going this whole cycle of women and all that they're trappings and attackings, I guess. But when he brings this outside girl into the town, then it becomes this big, gigantic crap storm, I guess. And I don't know if you know that that's what you get from it, or the metaphor that you get from it, or if it's more like a literal sense and like when nature attacks, and that's what it is.
You know, I always saw it on the surface as just a nature attacking thing, but I'm sure Hitchcock had some other motives.
Some deeper meaning. I didn't know if we needed to glean any of that from that. But
are you talking about the lady that was a school teacher that was the dark hair?
Yes,
so Suzanne Plachette. From Bob Newhart.
Yeah, she's sort of it, but she didn't really create the whole bird happening thing, because he brought this outsider, or this promiscuous woman, is what it was implied, into the town, and that's why the birds attacked her and why they did what they did, because it was just chaos.
But you can tell the school teacher really doesn't like her, that she feels threatened by her. And
absolutely.
She's not jiving with her. Because she's had her eyes on Rod Taylor for a while.
I mean, she stays in there. She's like, I love this dude. I want to spend the rest of my life with him. And even though he doesn't really like me, and we are not on that term. But anyway, I don't know why you'd stay on that dude. But
love lost.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I think it's a pretty cool movie with maybe a deeper meaning than just surface. But I don't know. I could be assuming things.
No, I don't think so.
Putting words in the mouth of the Hitchcock. But.
No, I mean, usually his movies do have a deeper meaning, but, you know, I just thought, you know, Nature Gone Wild, you know, like you're talking about.
What did you get?
Oh, well, I kind of have part of the haul was just like, I saw all these superhero movies. You know, I like superheroes, so there was a ton of superhero movies. That's the first thing that caught my eye. Then the second thing was there was a lot of good movies, and that's like, you know, it's like, oh man. But the killer that we were talking about earlier, you kind of hinted at, was the fact that they had 4Ks instead of just like regular Blu-rays. And I have never seen 4Ks at a pawn shop. This is the first time I've seen them, and I think the guys at the pawn shop are freaking out a little bit too. But anyway, picked up The Invisible Man, the new Invisible Man, with the lady from Elizabeth Moss from
Handmaid's Tale.
From what?
Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale, yeah, Handmaid's Tale, which I haven't seen, which I guess I should watch, but I haven't ever watched it. But I remember more from Mad Men, and she's a really good actress. And when you're playing against the Invisible Man, it's kind of just you.
Yeah, pretty much.
So she had to do all the acting. She did the heavy lifting in that movie. And so it's a great movie. It's a different take on The Invisible Man. If you haven't seen it, it's a more modern take. That's all I'm going to say. You'll figure it out if you watch the film. But I was just really happy with that because it was in 4K. And then, of course, the classic, The Shining, was in 4K. And I just... this movie, I mean, there's some movies that you just have go through your life, and you're not old enough to experience this yet. My watch just went off, but you go through. There's times I remember when this movie first came out. I remember seeing the trailer, just the blood coming out of the elevators. And that's all they showed. You didn't know anything about it. The book was a big deal. So I remember the novelization being available and all that because Stephen King wrote it. But then famously, Stanley Kubrick made his own movie, and Stephen King hates it. So he just did his own thing. But
what a shame. It's a classic.
Not necessarily. It's pretty much considered a classic. But I mean, if Stephen King doesn't like it, it's still good.
Exactly.
But it was just to get this on 4K. I was going to say I've had this on every digital. I've had it, I guess, since. I don't think I had it on VHS, but I had DVD, I've had Blu-ray, and now I've got 4K. So I've had it in every format that's mattered in the last few years. And other things that's in here that some people may or may not know, or something that people may or may not know, this was filmed at the exact same time as, and we always go back to Star Wars, as Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, it's 1980.
It was 1980, and Empire Strikes Back, they were filming it, and something happened to the winter sets. They were both filmed in London, and something happened, and there's a scene in the book where the hedges come to life. There's topiary hedges,
right.
and there's like rabbits and they hop and all this stuff like that, which they did later in a miniseries. But anyway, they had that set up to actually do, so it would have been more like Stephen King's book, but something happened and the sets burned down, and they almost burned down the sets of Empire Strikes Back, so, which is really kind of odd. Both of them are snow movies and have a lot of snow, but anyway, just a little fact there. But I was just so happy to have picked up those. So
my favorite movie of all time, and Jack Nicholson's my favorite actor of all time.
And I remember when it came out on Blu-ray, my mother-in-law bought it for me for Christmas because I had a list of films I wanted, and they're big on making a list, and so. They want to get you what you want. So you had to give them a list. I'm not that way. But anyway, so she was telling me about it. She was like, it had Jack Nicholson's face on the cover where he's peeking through the door. And she was like, you know, we saw a movie with him. Me and my husband went and saw a movie with him years ago, and he was chasing this lady with an axe. It was horrible, horrible movie. I'm like, this is the movie. She's like, no, I got you that for Christmas. And she was like very upset. But that's what I always think about when I think of The Shining. But it's one of those movies that's gone through my entire life. I think I was 8 or 9 when it came out, and then I'm still buying it. I'm buying it 3 or 4 times. Saw it on HBO when it came out.
That slipcover's awesome, though.
There's a great slipcover on here. I know there's like steelbook versions and everything. It's still got a good cover. It's the same thing. But that's another thing to find as a movie collector, to find slipcases at a pawn shop. That's a good deal.
Unheard of.
It's unheard of. And the digital copies were still in there. If you do the digital copy thing, because 9 times out of 10, if you find a digital code at a used place, then it's probably already been used. But nope, all the digital copies worked as well. So that was cool. We'll go on to your next ones. I don't want to keep going on. I don't want to steal the show and harp on it.
Okay, well, I went to Target and I got The Birds and Psycho, and those were there. But I also got Apocalypse Now and that was my Memorial Day movie.
And all of these movies that you're picking up are classic movies. So you're just we were talking yesterday, the IMDb 100.
Yeah, 100. It's basically what I'm delving into. But Apocalypse Now, I hadn't seen it before I bought this. So this was a blind buy. But of course I knew that Apocalypse Now was legendary and that it was amazing. And it had all these great actors. We had Marlon Brando, we had Martin Sheen, we had Robert Duvall. Is that right? Robert Duvall?
Yeah, Robert Duvall.
Amazing. Which I looked up, and he's never won an Oscar.
Robert Duvall never won an Oscar.
Isn't that crazy? Like, as far as,
really?
You'd think he was an A-list actor, and he's
been nominated so many times that I would have thought he won, because I remember there was one movie about him dancing, tangoing, something, and everybody was talking about it big that year.
But this movie it's part war movie, but it's also more cerebral in a sense that it goes beyond the typical war movie trope of it just being glory, and the end of the movie you feel like, all right, they won, America won, but I don't know if there's any winners really in this movie.
No, and I remember it being considered timely because of the fact that it was one of the first movies I remember that because is it Painted Black that is played in it? There's some Rolling Stones song.
It's The Doors.
It's The Doors.
Yeah,
okay, it's The Doors.
This is the end.
Yeah, this is the end.
Which I love The Doors.
And it was but it was one of the first movies to pay the money to have the real song. And so the people that were veterans from that time, when that movie came out, because it came out in the 80s, didn't it?
I believe it was the 76.
Wow, that far ago?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know it was that old. But anyway, it just had that, it was one of the first movies that had the real song that people would have heard at the time. Yep. And it really put those veterans in that place, that they really knew what time and when they were talking about. And so that was kind of a revelation in filmmaking at the time. So it's kind of odd.
Yeah, the most memorable scene I think in this movie is Robert Duvall's character Kilgore.
Yeah.
And the Napalm in the Morning, of course.
Napalm in the Morning.
And I just love his whole that was an Oscar-worthy performance for me. I thought like he stole the show as far as in the middle of the meat and potatoes of the movie. He was really great. And Lawrence Fishburne. We didn't talk about Lawrence Fishburne being in this, but
Harrison Ford
was in it for a
5 seconds,
5 minutes or so. I don't know if we really needed Han Solo to give him the mission.
Briefing, he wasn't Han Solo by then.
Yeah,
I don't think. That was another thing. But it was, and I remember it being notorious because they were there filming forever, and apparently the studio finally had to just cut them off and say, "Okay, make the movie."
Really?
Yeah.
I could see Francis Ford Coppola being that way. I mean, there's an infamous clip on YouTube where I think it's Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Gary Oldman, the actor, is getting into it with Francis Ford Coppola, and I thought that was kind of funny because that might be a little bit of him being a little bit stickler, the director. But do you think this is Francis Ford Coppola's best movie, or do you think Godfather's better? Or?
I actually think Godfather's better.
Really?
Like you said, a lot of people like Godfather Part 2.
Yep.
I've seen it, but it's been so long ago since I've seen it. I still like Part 1 better. I'm sorry.
Really? I like Part 1 better.
Yeah.
Well.
So I don't know. I mean, but they're both great films.
Yeah.
And then he went on to make Zoetrope Studios and all of that. And
I definitely think it's Martin Sheen's best movie.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah.
I think that's definitely his best movie. Marlon Brando, I would say, is better in The Godfather and just what he had to do with the the prosthetics and stuff.
Oh yeah. But it's I remember when you think about great directors at that time, then you had, like, it's really weird because they were all friends. You had Spielberg, you had Coppola, and then you had Lucas, and all of them were buddies.
Yeah.
They were all buddies. And actually, Coppola told Lucas to get rid of the scrolling words at the start of Star Wars. He said that was stupid. He thought it was incredibly stupid, and he was like, and then after it came out, and it was a big deal. It was actually a meta moment. A lot of people don't realize that because we're so used to it now. But it was one of those meta moments that every car commercial for a year had scrolling titles and stuff. Everybody did it, and anyway, he was like, well, I guess prove me wrong, but he did admit it. But he has a winery. Francis Ford Coppola does all kinds of crazy stuff.
Really? I didn't know he's still kicking. I was
He's still around.
Yeah.
And got a winery, and his cousin his nephew is Nicolas Cage.
Oh, okay.
So his name was Nicolas Coppola.
No, not the beast!
Yeah, by Nicolas Coppola. And he changed it to Cage after Luke Cage in the comic books.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
that's kind of cool.
And see, people don't, me and you have talked about this. It's where you live locally, things happen. And it's like, if you live in Los Angeles, then you know that all these people are family, like Tippi Hedren and Melanie Griffith. And you learn all this stuff. Chris Pine is like a third or fourth generation actor out of his family. And he was like, his family would just come and eat dinner at night, and it was like, well, today I played a cowboy. Because they were all like bit players and would come in and have dinner, and it's just kind of odd to think about it that way, but it's a job, just like people working furniture here. It's a job. It's a factory.
Absolutely.
So same sort of thing. But great picks. Great stuff. And then on top of that, steel books. So
I got to get it
the
that
steel
way.
books. And see, he's got the little protectors. I have some in little protectors, but I need to order more protectors.
I like these plastic ones better. They protect a little bit more, but.
Yeah, they're a little stiffer. And
you know me, a little anal about it for some reason.
Well, but they'll scratch really easy.
Yeah.
So if you do pick any up used, some of them usually have a scratch to them or something like that where it scratched the paint off of it. And these are the things that movie collectors go through. So also, I'm going to talk a little bit about, because I did pick all of these up at Steve's Pawn Shop. Steve's Pawn Shop located on... No. But, the guys at Steve's Pawn Shop are really great. But I was going to tell you that this is also one of the things about buying used movies, is you've really got to pay attention. And I didn't pay attention, and I picked up Zombieland Double Tap, and I haven't seen Zombieland Double Tap. I'd seen the original Zombieland, so I'm like, hey, $350. I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up, but it's just a slipcase for Zombieland Double Tap. It's actually inside of it is Zombieland. So that's the kind of stuff that happens to you if you don't really check. I did not have Zombieland on Blu-ray, so I'm not very upset, and I do remember it being a great film and enjoying it. But I do think it's kind of funny that I've got the slipcase to a different movie, but I've still kind of kept it there. That's kind of, they call that, when you leave stuff a little junky and on its own, in Japan they call it wabi-sabi. And this is kind of my wabi-sabi collecting that I've kept this. I hope maybe I'll find a copy of Zombieland Double Tap for cheap, and then I'll have a slipcase for it. So, and slipcases, a lot of guys, a lot of movie men like us, they will be like, oh man, it had a slip. It had a slipcase, it had this, and we'll get down here. I've got a lenticular one, 3D, so that's another thing. But that's the kind of stuff that happens collecting movies that you may or may not ever think of, that you've got to really check them and make sure that, hey, it's the actual movie.
And you thought you were getting an older Jesse Eisenberg.
I did do the general, it's Zombieland.
Yeah, I mean,
but no, it's
not.
It's the first one.
Well, it's got the same cast.
So it's got the same cast, and they're both on both covers. So it's like, oh, okay. I just thought it was a different cover. But I did pick up Ethan and Joel Coen's Hail Caesar, which I haven't seen, and I've seen now, but I hadn't seen it at the time. Which I don't know if. You know who the Coen brothers are, but you don't know who they are. They're the guys that made Raising Arizona. They're also the guys that made Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Mm-hmm. So they've made classic Southern movies before, and this one too stars George Clooney. George Clooney is in it, but actually the star is actually Josh Brolin is kind of the star. So Thanos himself is kind of the star of the film, but it's about a kidnapping that takes place of a big star who is George Clooney. He's filming a Roman war picture. That's Hail Caesar. That's the name of the film. And he is kidnapped and held hostage by a nefarious group of people while they're trying to film this movie. This is kind of Hollywood in the 1950s. So there's a lot of people that are types that you may know. There's Scarlett Johansson plays a woman like Esther Williams who does swimming musicals where they swim to music and stuff. Channing Tatum plays Gene Kelly type dancer. And so there's a lot of the stereotypes for 1950s Hollywood, which a lot of people may not really think about that particular time, but was classic Hollywood and the studio system. And Josh Brolin actually plays a guy that runs a studio. He runs Capitol Studios, and he is being swooned by Lockheed Air to try to come and take over and run Lockheed Air, because they see he can run the movie studio, then he could come run Lockheed, and they're getting ready to go into this jet age and all that. So he's got a life choice. So what is he going to do? And so he's going through those things. But it's got an all-star cast. Ethan and Joel Coen doing the script. So it's going to be good. You know it's going to be good. But it's got a subtle, wry humor. And I was watching this with my wife, who loves George Clooney. So I thought, hey, I can sneak that one in. And we're watching the film, and she's like, this is the silliest.
It is pretty
This is silly. This is stupid. This is, but it's really not. And she was missing who the people were. She was, mildly watching. She wasn't watching it intently. And so, she didn't understand that, like, this person was Esther Williams, this person was, that it was all the big Hollywood tribute kind of thing, homage to all these great actors. And I just really enjoyed it. I had a great time watching it.
I mean, Clooney's in a warrior outfit the whole time.
He's in a warrior outfit. I'm assuming he's supposed to be Charlton Heston, because Charlton Heston made Ben-Hur at the time, and he made the Ten Commandments.
That's 3 hours of your life.
Yeah, Classic story being heard.
Sorry.
Biblical story that isn't. But anyway, so he's kind of I'm trying to think of the syndrome that he's got. He kind of gets captured by these people, and he starts getting the capture syndrome, or you kind of start siding with him.
He's unraveling, his makeup starts running, everything.
Yeah, so he starts siding with the people that have captured him, which is kind of funny. But it's a great film. It's very subtle. And so the humor is very subtle. So you might not think that it's a funny movie, but if you watch it with the right people, then they'll be laughing, because I was laughing quite a lot. But my wife is like, this isn't funny.
I kind of feel like it's made for the same audience of Airplane.
It may be.
Yeah, I feel like
it's not as. I don't think it's as broad and in your face as Airplane.
I mean, Airplane is pretty in your face.
But if you, I mean, you kind of know what the jokes are in Airplane. But
right.
I mean, you got to have a true love of classic Hollywood, and I think that's why this film didn't do so well, and it kind of missed its mark, because there's a lot of people that don't know classic Hollywood. Like people, I think they were kind of tone deaf to the audience, but they may have really wanted to make this movie, and it's a good movie. I enjoyed it, and it's kind of funny. It's got some weird stuff in it, but Hail Caesar, so that's not a bad pick. But I want to see what's next in your stack.
Okay. Well, I'll actually do this one first.
Oh, okay.
All right, so this is Berserk. This is the Golden Age arc. These are the 3 3D movies. Okay, so they've had 3 different adaptations of Berserk. Berserk is a manga that was written by Kentaro Miura. I've been reading the manga, and the original manga in the hardback forms. But this is the adaptation of the Golden Age arc, which that's the first arc of the series of Berserk. And if you don't know anything about Berserk, it stars Guts in the lead role, which is a gigantic swordsman. He has a big sword that's way too big to be called a sword and way too big to be called a slab of iron.
But it's like Cloud Sword from Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
It's one of those huge sword, little handle, giant sword.
Right, exactly. And all of this is relative. I mean, they've borrowed it. Everybody's borrowed it from Kentaro, unfortunately. And
I guess so. I didn't even put that together.
Yeah,
that it was kind of stolen from him.
Basically, but this adapts the first 11 issues of the original manga, and that is the Golden Age arc, which is basically Griffith's rise to power, who is the main player in this. There's a dichotomy between Guts and Griffith, and this is Griffith's rise to power, and his ultimately kind of his fall of power. And Guts joins this group called the Band of the Hawk, and that's what Griffith leads, is this Band of the Hawk, and he meets Casca there, who's the other big player in this. So the 3 main characters, Guts, Casca, and Griffith, and basically their interactions is what creates this beast that's on the cover here. And it's quite adult in its themes, so I wouldn't watch
Very violent.
Very violent. So if you're queasy about it, then maybe don't do this. But if you like dark fantasy, which is what this is, the original dark fantasy is what they call it.
Yeah.
If you like that sort of style, or if you like Dark Souls at all, this is for you. And basically the whole movie is about this thing called a behelit, which has weird faces on it, and it's red, and it's the Crimson Behelit, and whoever holds it inherits the earth, and that's what Griffith has, and that's so it's got a very interesting plot, and I don't think there's anything as unique as this, but this is a pretty good adaptation. I will say that it doesn't have the humor that the manga has and the 1997 adaptation has. I would say it's more serious, it's more straight to the point, and pretty gritty. But
yeah.
It's 3D animated. So.
But I think if you were wanting to start watching an anime and you really liked Game of Thrones, then that would be the one you'd want to watch, because it's very adult, but then at the same time maybe more for the violence.
Yep.
But then not so much the sex like Game of Thrones was.
Yeah.
But it was, but it's I've seen the first, all 3 of those films are on Netflix. If you do have Netflix, you can just search Berserk. And I've watched the first one on Netflix. And it's pretty dark, but it's pretty cool too.
It is pretty cool.
And the creator just recently died, basically of overwork. They're saying now. So he worked so hard on this book. He would only take like 2 days off a year or something like that, and he's been working on it since 1989. So crazy stuff. And if you see his artwork, it's crazy detail.
It is indeed. He was a master, unfortunately. Gone too soon. He had a widowmaker in his heart, unfortunately. So.
Yeah.
Nothing foul play there involved.
Yeah, no foul play, but he would often talk about like getting exhausted going outside or get heat stroke because he was staying in the studio and doing that. But I mean, it's a great anime. The first movie was fabulous, and I hope to watch the other two as well. But some of that stuff is hard to find on Blu-ray, is it not? It's harder to find.
Harder to find.
You're not going to walk into Target and just pick it up.
Right. I bought this used on a website called Mercari for $15, but you know. It has all 3 of the full-length movies. So, but yeah, if you're into anything about, I would say even Lord of the Rings people would kind of like this.
Oh yeah, it's fantasy. Now, knowing that, physical media keeps getting harder and harder to find to a certain degree, and then you have stuff like that come out. So, like, you searched Mercari to find it?
Yes.
Or, I mean, so, that's an app that you can do on your phone and see who's selling stuff. It's like, I even look sometimes on, like, Facebook. I've got some good deals on Facebook Marketplace.
Absolutely.
So, you never know what you're going to find. And as those... even like Best Buy right now, Best Buy's Blu-ray section is like their movie section's small.
It has
compared to what it was. It's dwindled to nothing. So you kind of, if it's a new release, you better get it because that's what's tending to happen.
I went last time and we were down to 3 promo racks, and then one line.
Yeah, one line, and that's it. And so you kind of. It's getting to where you have to buy almost everything online.
Yeah.
Now Walmart has a lot bigger movie section, but then it's a lot more generalized. So you may find something new or different. But I noticed they're starting to get weird stuff because they have like they have a couple of the Scream Factory sets. I'd picked up the Omen set there, and then they've got like the Fly, which I need to pick up, but I don't know if I want to drop $40 on 5 Fly movies.
Yeah. Walmart is kind of getting more collective friendlier, I would have to say, because they have like NECA figures now and a lot more like nerdy stuff, I would have to say. Yeah. Well, niche stuff.
Well, when NECA figures are about $30 each, so
right. Yeah, they'll get your money.
They'll get your money. So it's cool to see that stuff is there. But a lot of times they get it, they'll have 1 or 2 of something, and then it's gone. So you're like, oh, these are coming out today. You got to kind of watch your dates and stuff, or pre-order stuff.
Exactly.
A lot of pre-orders go on, and if you pre-order it, then they make enough, is what we basically found out. I'm going to continue with this mess that I have, and I did pick up a couple of horror movies. We're getting down to the ones that I haven't watched, but I picked up Land of the Dead, which had been in there for a while, and it's the last great George Romero zombie movie. And so he was the guy that came up with Night of the Living Dead and made the zombies to begin with, and he has since passed on. But anyway, it's kind of got a tear on the side, but like for $3. And it's not a hard title to find, but it's just not laying around a lot of places. And so
what's the one that was really hard? Is it Dawn of the Dead? Is that the one that's super hard to find on Blu-ray?
Yeah, they just re-released it on 4K.
Oh, did they?
So you can get it like through international sellers like Zavvi and stuff like that.
All right.
There's like a 4K release of it, and a lot of people were happy that it came out. I've seen some guys complain that when they got it, because they're ordering from such a long distance, that it got beat up.
Yeah.
And so they were like, man, my copy's all messed up.
You mean customs aren't really tender and nice with items?
No. And I'll tell you, don't try to send macaroni and cheese to the Netherlands. That's all I'm going to say.
Just in case you were...
I have family members in the Netherlands, and we tried to send them mac and cheese, and they like wrote a note on there, don't try this again. Do not try to send them because that food is illegal there because of the dyes and stuff that we have in American food. It's illegal, and we sent them like a whole case of macaroni and cheese, and they were like, no, they can't have it.
Well, that stinks.
So they sent them a thing and said no dice, man. And but then they go into stores over there, and then a box of mac and cheese from America is like $10. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
or €10. So
got to get your money somehow.
So they, they let other people get it through. But anyway, I picked up a couple of horror movies. One of them being Land of the Dead, the last great George Romero movie. I have not seen Victor Crowley. Victor Crowley is apparently a lot of awards on the back of it. But there was a film series called Hatchet. Victor Crowley is the guy in it. He's kind of like Jason or something, but. Anyway, I have not seen any of the Hatchet films, and they had this one, so I picked that up. But there's some of these I struck, like some classic hits. We talked about The Shining and Stanley Kubrick, and they had A Clockwork Orange, which is a very uncomfortable movie to watch in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, even some of the humor is hard to watch, but it was kind of considered like the forebearer of punk. It got a lot of people into punk and stuff in England, and it's where the punks kind of came from. But it's got some disturbing stuff in it. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's about a gang, and they're disturbing, and then as one gets like rehabilitated and back into society, which is all kind of questionable. But it's kind of science fiction, kind of not. It's kind of the future, kind of not. It's kind of weird. But anyway, it was Malcolm McDowell's big star-making role.
I would say that movie doesn't have a genre.
No, it doesn't have a genre, but it's tasteless in every way that you could possibly think. At some point, there'll be something tasteless that you're just, I can't believe they did that.
Yep.
And they did it like in 1960 something. So, it's kind of the forebearer of punk, but it's considered a classic. And I have enjoyed the film before, but it's not one of those things you're like. It's like watching Schindler's List again. You may or may not watch Schindler's List again, but it's a great movie, an Academy Award movie. But the thing that got me, and the reason I was like just so stoked about this stack of movies or these particular movies, was they had so many comic book movies that I have not picked up, and I've intentionally not picked them up because I knew that at some point they would come down. So that's really kind of horrible, but that's movie collecting. They had Shazam. They had a lot of the DC movies. They had Shazam. It has the lenticular cover.
Shazam!
So Shazam, so he's changing. They had Deadpool 1 and 2, which is a new set that you can get at Walmart for $19.95. I got for $6. Aquaman, not lenticular, but a nice slipcase in there.
Visually stunning movie.
Visually stunning movie. And then Wonder Woman, which the first Wonder Woman's really good. I have not watched the second one, but I heard a lot of bad things about it. But, I'm still intrigued, and we'll probably watch it eventually. I wasn't going to pay to watch it. I'll eventually watch it. But Wonder Woman is a great film, and so of all the DC movies, I really did like that one. And so all those superhero movies, and I'm a big superhero guy, and I didn't have any of those. And I know you think that's crazy, but I did not. And then 2, well, I'm going to let you do your thing because I want to hear about this, and then we'll go into these last 2.
So this is my most recent Blu-ray pickup. This is K-On!, the complete series and the movie on 6 discs, almost 1,200 minutes of amazing cuteness. All right, so if you have children, this is the show for you. This is
really
so cute. It's adorable. I didn't find one off-color thing in this whole series, so I think you would enjoy it if you have any young ones around and you just want something to enjoy because it kept my interest, and I am a 23-year-old male. So,
but it has stuff that I know you like.
Exactly.
It's about
it's a band.
It's about a band.
Yeah, exactly. Like all these girls are part of a. If you don't know anything about Japanese culture, high school culture, you got to be in a club. You got to be in a club. And,
do you?
Yes.
Okay.
And in high school, their club is the light music club, but that's not what they're called, and they're not called K-On! Either. They're called after school tea time because they drink tea in there when they're not playing music. They drink tea.
Okay.
Yes. And just to
tea
add
ceremony is a big thing in Japan.
Yeah.
As well.
So. Tea and ramen. Lord knows there's a lot of ramen and everything. But yeah, this is such a cute show, and if you like music at all, or if you like the cutest things in the world, you'd like this show. Kayla.
But about like, is it like K-pop music? Is it like BTS, or how is it?
No. It's like they try to do like a rock and roll kind of thing. The main girl in here is Yui Hirazawa. She actually plays a Les Paul, which made famous
sweet.
by Slash and and Jimmy Page, all the
I was thinking about Paul McCartney. But.
Yeah, Paul McCartney probably played a Les Paul. I mean, it's a very popular guitar model. So, but I like how they put actual, real world instruments into the show.
Okay, so that much detail.
Yeah, like it's name brand. Like it says Gibson on the end of her guitar. And stuff.
Sweet.
So all of it you can buy in real life. You can buy the real deal and everything. So it's just a fun time.
But it's how do they become a band? Do they like tour? Does it end up being, or is that too much of a giveaway?
No. They become a band, and the movie actually is based on that. They actually go to London in the movie, and then they tour in London and do shows in London.
Oh, okay.
So that's their extent of touring it. But they do festivals. If you know anything about Japanese culture, festivals. That's where their life ends. Begins and ends is with festivals, like fall festivals and spring festivals. They love festivals.
Well, it's kind of the way here.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
So, but anyway, it sounds very interesting to me. And then to see it on Blu-ray, is a physical copy of it, I was really kind of shocked because a lot of people watch anime through like Funimation and stuff like that.
And it's worth it for just this one disc because it's got Sawa-chan on it, which is the teacher.
What?
Her name is Sawa-chan, and she's the teacher. She's their advisor of the group.
Oh, okay.
And she's possibly the greatest character because she's an old maid and she's never got married and she's really bitter about it.
I had read a similar anime that was it's called Beck. Not an anime, a manga. I read the manga, and it's free on Amazon if you have. If you have Amazon Prime, the manga is free to read, and it was about a boy band, but it was a manga, so you couldn't really hear the music or do anything. Right. They're just practicing, and they say, that guy's great.
It's hard to really
so it's hard to really get an idea of what the music would be like.
Right.
But they were talking, I think there were more grunge, but they were talking about the music and everything in it. But it was, but the guy that was kind of their inspiration was a swimming coach, and he had a lot of cutie lady books or something that he would have.
Really?
Have cute pictures of ladies in them.
Yeah, but he didn't actually have the lady.
But he didn't have the ladies. He was kind of the old bachelor, but he had like the books of all the little girls. So kind of funny. It's very similar in that. But also picked up two that I actually heard good things about from you and some other people. But I picked up two Ben Affleck movies, or Ben Affleck. But they had Live by Night, which is the Big Shoulders movie that Keegan was telling me about. And also The Town, which I have not seen The Town. A lot of people talk about The Town. It's just really great. And I haven't seen it, but so I'm looking forward to both of these. But I haven't seen either one. But Ben Affleck directed both of these, and supposedly people don't like Live by Night as much.
Yeah, no, it didn't get the critical reception. I don't know exactly why. I think it might be because it's too lengthy and it kind of goes on a lot of different tangents. Like the plot is very complex. You're following the same character the whole time, but I would say it kept me interested because it was a period piece and it really gave you a good sense of the Roaring '20s and what it was kind of like.
Oh, okay.
And I would say pretty cool for a period piece kind of movie.
Is it in the Boston area as well?
Yes.
So he does a lot of Boston.
Well, he's
stuff
from
where
Boston,
he's
and actually they moved from Boston to Florida, just like every good Boston person when they retire. They moved from Boston to Florida, so you get a little bit of Florida too. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. But I just I do respect him as a writer and as a talent, and I know he didn't like being Batman, but he got some money out of it.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just like Clooney, he has that picture of him in the bat suit, and it's like, never never compromise again and never do that. But I mean, you know, you got to make some money. You got to make some money while you're doing it.
If it takes some bat nipples along the way, make some money. You know?
and the most notorious of the Batman film, well, that is the Clooney one, but it is Batman and Robin, and I've noticed that adults hate that movie, but little kids love it. It is the equivalent to Adam West Batman.
Yeah.
For kids now.
It really is.
And they really like it. It's just fun. It's just a fun, old chum. I'll use my bat charge card.
Right.
He's got the bat charge card. And I mean, it's campy fun, and some people enjoy it. Some people are like, want serious Batman all the time. And sometimes that's a drag, man. Sometimes you want to have fun Batman, and you want to have some adventures and fun times. And so, but anyway, I appreciate Ben Affleck, and I'm looking forward to watching those as well. But that was my haul. We've never done a haul, so I wanted to do a haul.
This is very fun.
And Keegan, oddly enough, is getting stuff all the time. I mean, we all kind of are. And I will go and pick up stuff. Used stores. I'm more of a cheap movie guy, so I will pick them up at used stores and stuff like that. There's very few that I go, hey, that's coming out and I want it. So I don't feel bad when I do that. If I do pre-order it or get it some way, then I'm like, okay, I can kind of justify that because I don't do that often. So
right.
But I mean, movie collecting, it can be whatever. It can be as cheap as you want it to be. It can be as expensive as you want it to be. He was just looking at a set of Doctor Who I'd never even heard of, and it was on Blu-ray for what, £900?
Somebody paid £900 for the Series 9.
Series 9.
Peter Capaldi.
Which I like Peter Capaldi.
Not even David Tennant or Matt Smith.
I don't know. Well, I still like Peter Capaldi. I think Peter Capaldi just didn't get as good scripts, but Peter Capaldi was good as Doctor Who. I hated Clara, and I think that's all of season 9 as he was talking about. And so, I'm sorry, I'm not a Clara fan. I didn't like her when she was with Matt Smith. I didn't like her when she was with Peter Capaldi. I'm sure she's a sweet person in real life, but as a character, I wanted to, hit her on the head with a bat. So there you go. But I try to pick up Doctor Who on Blu-ray because, like I say, physical media is getting harder to do. Apparently, BBC here in America has decided to not do Blu-ray releases anymore.
So it's region locked to be.
It's region locked to be, and then everything here is DVD, which is a little more affordable, but just that little jump down in quality that you could have. So anytime I see Doctor Who on Blu-ray, I try to grab it, but not for $900. So, or which would probably be us and a half in pounds. So it would probably be us and a little more. So it'd probably be $1,000 or more for season 9 of Doctor Who. No, I'm not going to do it. But thanks, Keegan. Thanks for coming in and showing us your recent pickups. All stuff I wouldn't mind having. Yeah. And, I might have to borrow the K-On, just to watch it. Or we might watch it here in the office if nobody's looking. But it's 30-minute episodes. It'll go over quick.
Not even. It's 20.
20 minutes. 20 minutes. It's even better. It's getting better all the time. But let us know about your picks. Have you picked anything? You pick up movies? Do you watch movies? I mean, everybody watches movies, but do you collect movies? Give us a holler. You can email me at eStafford@caldwellcountync.org, and you can email him at kmatheson@caldwellcountync.org, and let us know your picks. Let us know what you're thinking about. And Keegan also collects audio. You collect vinyl. He gave me some very good vinyl for my birthday. So that I'm enjoying currently. So that's another thing to collect. I've got too many things to collect, so I try to just I'm in passing get that.
Unfortunately, I'm a chronic collector. I collect steelbooks. I collect hats. I collect statues now. And that's become expensive. And
I didn't know about the hats.
Yeah, the fitted hats.
I didn't put that together, but now I know. So.
Yep, unfortunately.
So, anyway, but lots of great stuff to collect out there. Let us know about your collection, and we're just glad you spent time with us here on The Movie Men. Have a great day.
You.